Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings Ltd. So this presentation is prepared to illustrate the use of SharePreds mobile app and is not meant to be a financial advice. You can do the same analysis on this stock or any other stock or ETF from the US stock markets by downloading our application either from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store by just typing the SharePreds in the search bar, and SharePreds Stock Tracker is the app that you can download and use for doing any analysis or get AI-powered predictions for stocks and ETFs from the US stock markets. So let's go back to our application and do our analysis on the Norwegian Cruise Lines. So as you know, markets have been quite volatile recently, and increased inflation, interest rates and oil prices have had a very negative impact on a variety of industries. And Norwegian Cruise Lines has just been one of them that is heavily impacted by the recent volatility. Let's have a closer look at the Norwegian. So the latest closing price for Norwegian was $12.76 US dollars. In the last 1 month, the price has gone down by 20% roughly. In the last 2 months, as we see at the top of the screen, by the red text, which represents that the price has gone down, in this case by 36% in the last 2 months. In the last 3 months, the price has gone down by almost 40%. In the last 6 months, the price has gone down by 40%. In the last 1 year, the price has actually gone down by 55.86%. And if we make the comparison for the last 3 years, the price has gone down by roughly 75%, almost 76%. So the change has been quite huge for Norwegian in the last 3 years. Before the or pre-pandemic period, the price of the stock was actually being at the levels of $55 to $60, and after the start of the pandemic, the price has gone down to the levels of $7 to $8, as you see. And later on, with the positive trend in the markets, the price has started to go up again, even if the company was not necessarily making any profits anymore due to the pandemic. And the price by then, went up from the levels of $8 to the, levels of $28 or $33 even. And later down the road, due to the, crisis in the markets, volatility, and due to the war in the world and so on. So things have changed, and the price has started to go down again. And right now it is trading at the levels of $12. So things haven't really gone perfectly fine for Norwegian lately. So if we have a look at the MACD and signal lines, which we see at the top of the screen right now, where the MACD line is represented by the red line and the signal line is represented by the yellow line. Both MACD and signal line figures are below the zero line at the moment, but the MACD has just crossed the signal line and is above the signal line right now, and giving us which gives us a positive histogram value, which is at least good. If we have a look at the RSI at the top of the screen right now, which is represented by the blue line, we see here that the RSI is below 50, but at least above 30. If it was 30, we will say that the stock was overly sold, but it is not necessarily the case. It is just below 50 right now. So if we have a look at the moving average 20 days versus moving average 50 days, and moving average 50 days is represented by the yellow line, as you see at top, and the 20 days moving average is represented by the white line. And 20 days moving average is trending way below the 50 days moving average. If it was the opposite, we will say that there was a positive trend for the stock price, but we don't necessarily see it. The shorter term moving average is below the longer term moving average, indicating that the price of the stock does not have a positive trend, so to say, right now, based on these figures. If we have a look at our AI-powered prediction for the price of the stock for the coming month, our algorithms expect a price increase with 52% probability in the coming month. So the reference price buy target for this prediction is $12.87. So this 52% prediction is not a strong expectation for a price increase for the stock in the coming month. So if the prediction was like about 70% or about 80%, let's say, we will say that our algorithms have a very strong expectation for a price increase for the stock in the coming month, but it is not necessarily the case. The prediction is very close to 50%, the midpoint of of the range of from the 0% to the 100%. So the expectation is kind of so that the price of the stock will be lingering around at these levels, at the levels of $12 to $13 range, probably, since the prediction is not that strong for a price increase in the coming month. The price decrease is the expectation for the price decrease is not that strong either. In that case, this prediction would be way below 50%. So let's have a look at the technical indicators further down. So RSI, as we mentioned before, it is 44.17, so it's not that strong, but it's very close to the mid levels. So market is minus 1.1, signal line is minus 1.32, giving us a positive histogram value of 0.21. So volatility in the last 5 days has been 7.5%. In the last 20 days, the volatility has been 7.76%, and in the last 200 days, the volatility has been 9.12%, which is quite high actually for such a big company like Norwegian. But as mentioned before, things haven't really gone perfectly fine for Norwegian in the last 2 years roughly, due to the pandemic and due to the recent crisis in the world in terms of oil prices, inflation, interest rates, and so on. If you have a look at the financials of the company, the PE ratio is not given due to the fact that the EPS TTM has a negative value at the moment, which is minus 10.52, so it doesn't really look promising. We can have a look at the quarterly report summary or annual report summary, as you see. If you have a look at the quarterly report summary for the income statement in particular, you can see here the start date, end date, and the filing date for each report in the first 3 columns. If you have a look at the basic EPS or diluted EPS figures at the left-hand side of the table, so we see that in the last 9 quarters, the company has reported negative EPS figures, indicating that the company hasn't been that profitable in the last 9 quarters. But before that, most of the time, if we scroll down for earlier quarterly reports, the company was actually reporting positive EPS figures. So under the normal conditions, if the markets are normal, there's no war or oil crisis or anything like that, or if these problems are solved in one way or another, it is quite likely that the company will start making profits again, because there's a demand for the services of Norwegian Cruise Lines, and it is a well-known company in its field. So when these problems are sorted out in the long term, it can potentially be expected that the price of the stock will start going up again, which can be a profitable investment for the investors if the problems in the markets can be solved and the Norwegian can accept new customers again and can start offering its services to the customers again, and people also feel safe for their future and for their financial situation to spend more money to enjoy the services of Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. So I will skip the annual reports part, where you can also see balance sheet, cash flow, and income statement figures. So you can see further down the company details, the description of the company. The company doesn't have any dividend history due to the fact that the company is not necessarily sharing any dividends. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings related latest news from different news resources. So in short, the price of the Norwegian Cruise Lines has gone down quite a lot in the last 2 to 2.5 years actually. If you're a long-term investor, Norwegian Cruise Lines can be a good investment if you have the patience. Can the price of the stock go down again? Can go further down? we can't say it will not happen due to the ongoing crisis in the markets. But when things go back to normal again, it is likely that Norwegian will start making profit, and it will positively impact the price of the stock in the long term. And again, you can do the same analysis on this stock or any other stock or ETF in our mobile application that you can download either from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.